Hello everybody and welcome in. My name is Yolanda Roos. You're here and you have found my channel of Facilitated Light Well-Being. We do timeless messages that reach you when it's important. They do come out on a regular basis, but if it finds you, it's meant for you to hear. So the channel is designed to be able to help you through your trials, your tribulations, finding your most authentic place to be, who to represent yourself as, being true to yourself. So sometimes it requires shadow work. It requires being real, removing things that don't serve you. We are right now in Mercury retrograde. We're in the middle of it. It's going to be communication mishaps, delays. You might have car issues, things of that nature. Communication could get distorted. Emails and different things could get lost. The full moon just happened a couple days back. We just had our lunar eclipse. So I'm going to tap in with the Moonology deck. This is Yasmin Boland, or Boland, however you say it. So I'm just going to see, usually the full moon is like the mid-cap point. The new moon is a new lesson or thing we're going to be dealing with. So I figured we'd just check in. There's no set thing that I do. So if you come on, it's just random messages. If I get a download, if I feel like I need to come and talk to you guys, sometimes we just tap into the spirits. I have a new deck I'm working on that's going to be for spiritual readings that I'll be doing in the near future. I've done a couple of them, but I wanted to make, I needed a deck to supply what I needed for like the wording and stuff like that, and stuff we're dealing with on a spiritual level. So your first card out is, it came out reversed, but I didn't really check the deck. So it said, be humble. First quarter moon in Leo. And that's kind of where we're at with this cycle anyway. But Leo is about fire, center stage, kind of being the light in the room. But I feel like being humble is seeing things at different perspectives, not judging people, kind of being understanding, because there's a lot of change that's happening right now. There's a lot of things. What's coming in right now is, don't be so quick to judge. Don't let that mind of ours that's controlled, that loves drama and all that stuff, to be easily putting a tag on somebody or easily judging somebody before we know. And sometimes we do it and we don't even realize. It's not even like, we all do it. We see something and we're like, whoa, you know. It's that if we act on it, or we're like, oh, you know, what are they going through? My husband always says I make excuses for everybody, but what I'm really trying to be is reasonable. That, do I know all the situation? I could be upset with somebody, or I could think they're crazy or whatever, but being humble is like not putting yourself above or understanding where somebody could possibly be coming from. And not everybody's in the same walk. Remember, we're all walking a different walk as we ascend and go up into this new paradigm of from 3D to 5D. We are really walking a new line. We are not all ascending, growing, waking up at the same time, and that's okay. We don't need to, because we're all, it's kind of like, I always refer to ascension, and really, I know it sounds silly, but it's like potty training. Potty training happens when you're ready, when your system clicks in, when you remember when you're sleeping to not go to the bathroom, when you learn to hold it. It's like, it's a learning process. When you're ascending, sometimes it happens naturally, and sometimes you got to really work at it, or you really have to, you know, think of when you have mishaps, or you do things like peeing your pants. I know it's kind of silly, but you haven't learned to control certain things, or you haven't understood certain things, or when you're sleeping, your mind is unwinding so much stuff. So you're dreaming, watch your dreams and see what your dreams are showing, and maybe they can give you a clue to what you need to do in your waking life. So that could be you're upset about something that you're not acknowledging, or you don't even realize. You might have shadow work. You might have things from the past that you need to address, deal with. Remember, we talked about it if you've been on my channel. You need to address them, feel them, understand if maybe there's something you're doing to bring them in, and then you need to release it so that it doesn't continue to stay in your auric type of field, your energy, your soul memory. Woo! These are thrown around. So these popped out, and I am going to take them just to kind of see what they have to say. So trust the universe. This is important. We need to trust the process because it's very hard in a world that seems a little chaotic. What I would say, if you're having trouble trusting the universe, is that it's important to kind of know what's going on so you're not ignorant to world things. But it's important to not become consumed by it. You can know, you can be aware, you can make adjustments in your life, whatever the case may be. But knowing about the universe taking care of you is that even when there's chaos, you believe that the powers that be, that the universe, whatever, is trying to orchestrate something for the best, okay? It's the people that are not orchestrating the best. But the universe and God, the monad, the higher, whatever you want to call it, it is working for our benefit. And if you just trust and you believe and become unattached to what needs to come about in your life, in the situation, and how you think it should be, if you can unattach that, you will be so much better. It'll help you to be flexible. It'll help you to say, okay, so I don't understand this, but I'm just going to trust that this is what I'm supposed to go through, or this is what I'm supposed to see, experience, understand, learn, okay? Your next one is think it through. So if there's things you're dealing with, or things that you're pondering, or things that, going back to the humble thing, think before you speak is the first thing that came to me. Thinking it through is also making sure you're not being haphazard in a time frame. Right now it's the Mercury retrograde, but if you find this and it's later, there could be something that you possibly are considering doing. Are you thinking it through? I just made a choice to return to school, but I was already looking toward it. So I did my analysis. I found a school. I'm finishing my bachelor's degree, but I'm finishing it in something I want. I'm taking an alternative medicine degree, and I'm super excited, but I know it's going to be a lot. It opened up. I got my FAFSA. I'm trusting the universe, but I also thought it through. I wanted to make sure, because I'm committing to something that's going to cost me money, but it's something for a long time goal. So I thought it through. So maybe if you're considering something, and I stepped back from doing my store right away because I was getting bills for normal life. And I said, okay, I want to think this through. I don't just want to jump in. But this came with the degree thing. It came to me that it's time to do your degree. It's time to get your credentials. You need to go on your path that you're supposed to be doing, and you're going to have to put in, you're going to have to sacrifice, you're going to have to do the steps so you can get where you need to be. But I didn't just hastily jump into it because I was already considering it. It might look like that to you guys because I don't share all my stuff, but I made the jump, but I did my research. I checked it out. I checked for FAFSA. I checked to see how the classes run. If you're considering a major change, make sure you're thinking it through before you do it, because there could be something, and this is the Mercury retrograde thing. Make sure you're understanding what you're taking on at this time, because in the long run, if you don't do all the fine print and the look, that's why when I was signing all my stuff last night, I was trying to be aware of all the different things, knowing what I could handle, knowing what I couldn't. I almost had to decline because there was going to be an extra amount of money. So, and they said, oh, we have a scholarship. Can you do this? And I said, oh, now that I can afford, but I cannot afford $1,000 extra a month on top of what I'm doing. So it worked out. I trusted, and I just said, okay, maybe it's not time. I just said, okay, maybe universe, maybe it's not time. And they offered me something extra because I didn't just say, oh no, I can't do it. And I'm willing to take the challenge. I'm willing to put in that extra money for myself because it's growing me. So if you're doing something, it is a time that we need to be humble. We need to go after things that are going to be good for us, good for others. And then we need to trust the universe is giving you this insight or whatever and going with it. But we're also thinking things through because it is Mercury retrograde. It is whatever this is. If this is resonating with you and you're getting ready to do something that could cost you money or it's a long-term goal, my advice is that you make sure you read the fine print. You make sure, because right now at this point, if you're watching this in March into April of 2026, it's important that you read the fine print. Okay, because that's the Mercury part that could kind of jump up and pop you into time, and you wouldn't be like, oh my God, I didn't realize it. And then when you go read the fine print, you signed it. Okay, so be prepared that whatever you're doing, and I feel like it's going to be a long-term thing, or it could be a long-term thing, that making sure you're prepared. So don't overspend. Be careful that you're not taking on more than you can handle, so you don't default or have an issue. Unleash your kindest self. There has been so much strife, conflict, right alongside of beautiful things that are happening. So make sure that if you're frustrated in your life, that you deal with your issues and you try to be the best kind person you can be, because everybody, like I said, this is a very weird, wonky year. As we're shifting into this new place, into this new thinking, into this new, I'm going to call it a paradigm, into this new timeline, we are starting something new. And not everybody's going to be on the same path. Not everybody's going to be at the same understanding. They're going to be people in the old energy, people in the new energy. So what it's asking you is, be kind to people. If they are not on the same track as you, please don't call them stupid. Don't say they're acting blah, blah, blah. Be gentle with your words. Just say, oh, well, you know, like I've always said, agree to disagree. This is where I'm at, you know, and if you ever need advice or you need someone to come along, I'm here for you. It seems like you've got your mindset on what you want to do. Hey, that's great. I hope it works out for you. But in a nice way, being nice and gentle and kind to people. There's also so many people. This is what's coming in, and I it's not emotional, but I feel the power of it. There is so much change coming in for people. Sickness, jobs, loss, war, political things. You need to be kind to people because you don't know what they're dealing with on their inside life that they're not sharing. You could literally, by your words, crumble somebody and devastate their world. Take that in. Your words can be so impactful that you can devastate somebody. Because if somebody's in a fragile state of mind, and I'm not saying you have to be like, oh, I can't say certain things. You can deliver messages with kindness. Okay, so remember to be kind and considerate when you're saying something that could be detrimental. You know, if you don't have something nice to say, like Bambi's mom would say, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all, or Thumper, or one of them. Remember that. When you're speaking your words are very, very impactful and they're powerful. People don't realize that when you say your words, you're in an essence doing spell work. Okay, because you're sending out a frequency, you're sending out energy, and when you speak vicious, there's a tone in your voice that adds frequency, that packs a punch. You can bring things in or remove things from your life with your words. Keep that in mind. So if you're stinking thinking or you're stinking talking and you're saying bad things or whatever, you're putting bad stuff out, and we mirror everything back to ourselves. So if you're going to be mean and vicious to other people, you're kind of setting yourself up to be mean and vicious back to you some way or another. It's kind of like a karma thing, but I don't think that's karma. Our energy goes out and it's reflected back to us because we kind of create our reality. And I believe because what we accept, what we do, what we put out, it comes back to us. So eventually, if you're a bad person or you're a crappy person, you're going to be perceived a certain way or you're going to be treated a certain way. So I'm not going to tell you how to act. But if you don't like being talked about, don't talk about people. If you don't want people to think you're an asshole, don't be an asshole to people. You know, if you're not worried, then you do whatever the heck you want. Don't worry about it. But if you are trying to become a better person, you're trying to ascend. If you are trying to be a better person and it's important to you, you are on the path of ascension. You are trying to be a light within the world. If you're not, and you're just a player in the game, or you really don't care, you're just a bad person, whatever the case may be, you're probably not a part of my channel if you're on a bad mission, because this channel is a channel of becoming your most authentic self. So it could trigger people, but not for the purpose of trying to hurt people. It's that you are trying to live authentic and be who you are, speak your truth, but you don't have to be a jerk about it, I guess is what it, you can say, listen, I don't agree with what you're doing. Listen, you live your life, I'm gonna live my life, but this is what I believe, or I think it's gonna possibly come back. But you could say it nicely. I think this is gonna come back to get you, but you know what? You're a human being, you can do your own thing, and you account for yourself at the end, okay? So I would just say, if you really are on a mission and you're really trying to be a better person, then focus on trying to be a light in the world, not naysaying, battering. How do I say this? When you're talking, I want you to talk about what you want things to be, not how shitty things are right now, okay? You need to be always focusing on what you want the world to be, to become, to love. You want to be thinking on what you want. So if you're going to have conversations with people, you can say, this really bothers me, but you know what? I think we should do this, and it should be this way, and I'm trying to change myself, and I'm working on light, and I'm working on healing, because there's been things that have happened to me, and you know what? I can't change that, but I'm going to fix myself. You're focusing on what you're going to do to fix it. You're focusing on bringing the light, the understanding, the healing, what you want in the future, not what you don't want in the future. Like, if you're just a whiny, complaining person, you're going to have complaints your whole life, because all you're going to do is bring in the stuff that you don't want, because that's the only thing you're focusing on. You're not focusing on the beautiful things. You're focusing on the bad things, okay? And that's how manifestation works. It comes by what you think on. So what you think on, if you're thinking of all the fixing and all the things you want to do, that's why they do vision boards. We've talked about this before. You put in front of you what you want, so your mind is thinking on what you want, not what you don't want, okay? So that's for somebody. There's still some people out there, because that keeps coming back into our readings. I think there's a lot of people. We just don't realize our thoughts we're like, our ego is like our jerk brother that's just talking like, yeah, you can't do that, or why they do that, why you keep putting up with that, and then you get sidetracked because you get frustrated, and that's more frustrating than the thing that you're thinking on, and sometimes you get distracted, and it's okay, be human, but just be conscious of your thoughts, of your words. Okay, all shuffled. I gotta focus on something. What do you want? Sorry, I get my downloads and I get going. What do you want the crowd to know, be aware of? Spirit guides, angels, most high. What do we have coming in that they need to be aware of? So the first one out, we get two. Soothed. May you settle gently, even as a wave breaks above. Yes, this is knowing there's chaos and craziness. This might be part of the message, because I never know what's going to come out until I'm there. Even though the world is raging around you, may you find the calm within the underneath, or within your subconscious, or within your life, within your quiet space, knowing that the world is crazy, but you still just focus on what you want to do, because you can be aware that the world is blowing up, but having a positive aspect is, okay, listen, I know this is what's happening, but okay, if the gas is going up to $3.99, $4, I don't know where you live, but the gas is going up because, of course, it's being affected by everything, whether it's legit or not. You know that if something's happening around oil, y'all gonna pay for it, okay? Instead of being upset, because there is nothing you can do about the price of gas. Sorry, you gotta pay it. Say, okay, the price of gas might be going up, so you know what? I'm probably going to have to watch my budget, and I'll just not go and spend the extra money on that. I'll put it aside because I know I need to go to work. I need to do this. I'm not going to cut myself short. I have to make money. It's not going to stay. The gas prices change every day, every couple days. They don't stay the same. So that's one example. You lost your job. Okay, that really sucks. But if you're only focused on losing that job and they're doing cutbacks, whatever, if you know that you could possibly lose your job, start looking for a new job. Get something else. Find another way to make money. Don't wait until you get laid off and say, oh my gosh, they laid me off and I have no money. Well, especially most layoffs, or it's coming. They do give you severance. So if you start looking and you start going, and don't be so prideful that you don't take a job that's lower than you, because you know what? That might just give you money until you can get the next place, or possibly come back to work. So you're focusing on the positive. Okay, I got to pay my bills. I'm just going to find a new thing, or I'm going to get ready and, have something lined up. Your car breaks. That's life. That really sucks. But if planning, that your car could break down, you either have to save money for when the car breaks down, and then all the chaos around you might be crazy, but you're like, nope, I got the money put aside. Or you can be chaotic and be above the storm, and you got yourself all spinning and crazy, and then all you do is torment yourself, and you're traumatizing your emotional and your nervous system. Being able to live in life, political, Epstein files. Okay, you can know about them, guys, but that's not you can't do anything about it. If it's released, it's released. Okay, what can you do to make it better? Being positive, listening to people. If people have gone on, but you don't take it as your own. You say, okay, that's not my world. I'd like to know what's going on. Oh, that's terrible that happened. Maybe we could find other things, or I could post that this is really terrible and I'm very sorry that the people dealt with it. What can we do to change it? What rules and regulations can we put in place so it can't happen? Okay? It's finding the solution instead of just swimming in it or being above ground and be like, oh my God, and just putting yourself in it and traumatizing yourself. There's my husband's phone. Fluid is the other one that came out. May you shift and transform. Yeah, there is change that's coming. There is chaos in the world, and there is change that is fluidly changing like this. Remember we said things don't just go poof, okay, we're going to change, we're all going to be good. No, it's a flow. So as things change and get fluid, they want it to be smooth so that you know that the world is not going to stay the same, but it is slowly going to change. Whether you agree with it or not, slowly change happens. Women's suffrage took 150 years, 100 years for us as a woman to get the rights. I was just at the point when I was born, I was still a child. I was at the point in the 70s where it was flowing into a woman getting her right, freedom from just being a housewife, not being taken seriously. And listen, it's not like I'm not a feminist in that way. I just say I have been in the progression of a woman not having the rights to a woman having the rights. And it's a slow, fluid progression. You can't change everybody's mind in 1 second. When they wanted to when they wanted to implement electric vehicles across the board by like 5 years, that's just not realistic. Now, I didn't get upset about it. I was just like, well, they can try. I don't think that's going to work, because you can't take a whole system that's been running on a certain thing and just financially or like reasonably set a time of 10 years, 5 or 10 years to change a dramatic thing. You have to get it time and tested. You have to see that the vehicles work good. You start putting these vehicles into environments and you test them. You don't mandate it. So the transition that's coming, they're asking you to be fluid and know that even though you want to change or you want to do something right now, or you want something to change in the world right now, it's probably going to be a smooth, slower transition, because that's how change works. Unless the world blows up, I'm hoping not, it's slow. It's progressive. Okay, so we're going to be soothed in the moment. We're going to allow ourselves to step back and not be engaged or overstimulated by things that we have no control over, or being able to prepare and plan so that it doesn't cause so much chaos in our life. Just so you know, any kind of disruption in the world is going to create a merchandising capitalized response from things that are affected by that. So prepare that your gas is going to go up. Prepare in the winter that your electricity is going to go up because it's supply and demand. You're going to need electricity to run your heaters. Prepare that your gas and your fuel is going to cost more because they know you're going to need to buy it and you will spend the money. It's the way it works. Can you fix it? Maybe. Planning. Knowing that it's coming, because life is a cycle. Every year, January, February, and probably March, the electric bills go up. Every time a holiday comes, that gas goes up. Every time they burn a oil well, or they have a devastation, or there's war, they're gonna charge more for gasoline. Anytime there's political change or buying and selling, the stock market gets crazy. People start panicking, they start cutting, and people lose their jobs. It's a part of life. Nothing is guaranteed or promised. You have to be aware of your life, preparing, and not living with blinders on. Like, you understand it, but what are you going to do to stay balanced in the chaos? Because you can see chaos coming. You can see things. If you start paying attention, that was part of the message. Ooh, they just pulled that in. You need to be present in your life right now, because when you're present, you can see the little signs and things that are coming, so you can prepare and self-correct. Okay, so that is a message for somebody. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what's happening, be aware of what could be affected. If your car's starting to make noises, if you are in an area where it's going to be winter, maybe in the summer, start saving for your fuel. Like, you struggled this year. Okay, that's fine. But maybe next year you could say, oh, this is what happened. I think I'm going to just make sure that I'm ready, or buy a bag of pellets every day before the season starts, when they start having them out, and then you'll be stockpiled or ahead of the game. It's just ideas. It's not saying that that's what you have to do. I'm saying thinking ahead, knowing that the cycle is going to happen again. Or if you see a certain pattern, you can say, oh, okay, I better prepare. Or maybe we'll do our vacation after the holiday, because the gas is going to be much more expensive during Memorial Day, or during, say, Easter weekend, or whatever, when people would be traveling. During spring break, your vacation is going to cost more. If you don't have that money and you still like to go away, adjust it to when spring break is happening, and take your break maybe at a different time if you can. You know, these are just suggestions. When you buy a new car, that's fine and dandy, but it's going to need brakes, it's going to need tires, it's going to things. If you put your budget so expensive to buy a new car, can you afford to fix it when it breaks down? These are the little things that help you to stay soothed in the calm area while the storm is brewing around you. The world is the storm. All the things around you. Listen, I'd love to say the world is all peachy keen and wonderful, but that's the storm. That's what triggers you. People, environments, decisions that other people make that you don't even have control over affect your life every day. All right, we're going to just get one more card here. I hope this helps you guys, and it will give you some premeditated thoughts for your life, that maybe you can be present in what's happening so you can plan for the future. It's not that you have to remember, not too far in the future, not too far in the back, but knowing that something could happen again, you could start in the present moment, maybe conserving, maybe being aware of something, you know, maybe changing some of your habits, maybe readjusting your plan so that it's a little less cumbersome or hard on you. Okay. All right, now these are all shuffled. I tried to go with all the water ones because this is our kind of our moon reading. We're being humble, we're trusting the universe, but we're also being discernment of how we speak, how we do. What last message do you have for this section of time, or for this message? Thank you, Spirit Guides. Let's see if we can get one to pop. That one came out, but I'm going to see if we have another one. Is that the one you want? No, there we go. Okay, the first one that kind of wanted to come out was confront the shadows within and let the alchemy of your soul transform darkness into light. Same thing. fluid. This was what we talked about. So they're saying that, yes, this is important. Being aware of what's triggering you, what's bothering you, shadow work could take you from being overstimulated to bringing you back to a soothed place. Because remember, we saw that soothing, that it would soothe you. It's dealing with the shadow work, because if your internal world is just as chaotic and turmoil filled and traumatized as the outside world, you're going to flounder. It's going to hurt you. You're going to make fight or flight things. And you're just going to keep a vicious cycle going. I've seen it. I've experienced it. When you're in fight or flight, you're not making rational things, or you're missing things, or you're just so overwhelmed, or you get into fights and you're aggravated and you're just not living a quality of life. So deal with the things that need to be dealt with so you can be soothed in the calm of the underneath water. Think of it as when you go underwater. Like if you're in your bathtub and you go under the water, it muffles and it kind of mutes the sounds, and you're totally encapsulated in something like a mother's womb. That's the idea. When you go out of society and you're in your own mind, your mind needs to be protected, healed, and put to a better state of mind, bringing your nervous system out of fight or flight, so that when you come home or you go into a quiet space, meditation, whatever, it brings you relief. If your inner world is just as chaotic as your outer world, you're not going to find it. And it's going to be one step at a time. If you are in that state, there's no miracle and there's no drug. You have to stop taking things to cover it. You have to deal with it, address it, release it, and then it's going to take time. Because if you're in a state that you're overstimulated to that point, you probably have more than just one little shadow work thing to do. You have things that you need to address that society has told you aren't right, or you've pushed it down, or you haven't taken the time, or you don't realize that you have all this stuff and you're just so used to living in that over energized state that you don't know the difference. You should be able to have a quiet time, or you should be able to sit and just be in the privacy of your home, or in whatever takes you into nature, whatever. But if you aren't dealing with what has hurt you, damaged you, shortcomings, lessons you need to learn, addictions, codependencies, things like that, you have to deal with them to find that relief and that happiness and that peacefulness in life. You can't find it if you're overstimulated. It's just I have been there. You can't do it. You have to finally let it go. You can't hold it. You can't hold grudges. You literally cannot hold grudges. You don't have to be friends with them. You don't have to go back to that situation. You don't have to go back to that workplace, but you have to release it. You have to let it go. Okay? Then your last message is anchor. Oh, I did it too quick. There you go. This one's pretty cute. Anchor yourself in strength and resilience, finding stability amidst life's ever-changing tides. Yeah, it's just saying you have to be flexible. You have to know that life is changing, just like those stupid gas prices. Okay? Guys, have a great day. I hope this helps you. Find your peace. Find your quiet spot. Deal with your stuff. If you need help and you don't know what you're dealing with, either you could get a reading, you could get psychological help, and I'm not saying it badly, like someone to speak to, or you can reach out. I do readings, I do things to help you guys to find out if there's something that's blocking you, or the main thing that could be getting in the way. Have a great day. We love you. Enjoy.